another season of the 60 plus racing adventures right here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Good evening, sim racing fans, or good afternoon, I guess, for those of you in the United States. Hello, my name is Cisco Scaramouza alongside Jack Styles to bring you all the action. Hugo Louise, the director, in the bus, making things happen down in the production trailer. Jack, we're back for another season, 3 broadcasts with plenty of racing for these guys. Once again, 12 race schedule. What are you expecting here?
I am expecting what we saw last season, that is close, intense racing. These guys always know how to put on a show, and don't forget there are 2 races. There's going to be a gap in between, but you need to stick around for the second one because it's just as intense as the first.
Yeah, we'll be taking it for 3 different races here for this season of the 60 Plus Racing Adventures. This race, Watkins, Glen, then on October 25th, Monza Grand Prix, and then finally rounding everything out at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. That'll be the final broadcast, also the final race of the season, so championship implications for that race, absolutely. But that's then, this is now, and we are here at the Watkins Glen International Speedway here in Watkins Glen, New York. And a very famous track, a former Formula One circuit, and a yearly stop on the NASCAR Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series schedule. And a very fast-paced racetrack, Jack, one of the tracks returning from last season. And we're going to see some high speeds because we are on the old layout, which will include the boot, but it also gets rid of the bus stop.
Yeah, yes, and last season we had the same layout and we saw 4 wide coming down the back straight between 4 and 5 down into the carousel. We saw some unfortunate incidents into the carousel as well, but what we're going to see today again is exactly the same, close racing, and at the moment it looks like the top 3 are covered by just under a 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're new to this series, this will be a 2-race broadcast. The first one will be for the championship. That'll have all the points implications, everything like that. Then in the second race, the top 3 who podium from race 1 do not race in event number 2. The difference is only the points from race 1 will be considered for the championship. So that second race, really more for these guys to get the bragging rights, go out, win the race, Jack. And we'll catch up with Jack here in a moment, but nonetheless, qualifying times right now, we're in the middle of them. Bill Lawrence currently sits atop the standings right now with just under a minute left in the qualifying session. Stephen Karkner is running second. We can run you through a little bit of what we saw last season. Stephen Karkner was able to get the season championship over Jos van der Ven. John Morgan brought home the 3rd place in that season. Andrew Fiddler, who was up front a lot of the broadcasters' races, wasn't able to capitalize. He finished 4th, and then 5th was going to be Bill Lawrence. So that's your final standings. And also we saw team number 1 bring home the team championship, and that was Karkner, Lawrence, Robertson, and Andy Morgan made it happen for that team. And Jack, another season, a little bit of a shakeup in the drivers. Who's going to be showing up, and a lot of new faces as well to keep an eye on.
Yeah, the league has changed hands since last season, so it's no longer ran by Donald Strout, and he's not here today. It is ran by the capable hands of Joel Martin and Mark Lyson. So we're seeing roughly the same drivers again, but a couple of new faces and definitely some great talents out there. We're seeing Jos van der Ven up the front. Okay, he's never been on a real racetrack in his whole life, but he was a professional bus driver, so he knows how to wheel something around on the roads of, I guess, Europe. So I believe we're going down to the starting grid.
Yes, we are, Jack. So we're going to take a moment and run you through your starting grid for race number 1 here at Watkins Glen International for the 60 Plus Racing Adventures. Bill Lawrence got the pole time with the time of 1:42.036. Stephen Karkner going to roll off second. Third going to go to Jos van der Ven. And fourth going to go to Andrew Fiddler. Rounding out your top 5 is going to be Donald Fighter. That's going to be a new name for me. And then Bruce Bull rounds out your top 6, Jack.
Yeah, Joe Wren is going to line up 7th, and Franz Brink is going to join him alongside. John Unsby is going to be in 9th, one of the guys we saw up front in the last season. He's only about 7/10 off pole, but I think you'll see him up towards the front maybe in the second race. And Paolo Bonacera, I believe that is a new name as well, Cisco, going to line up 10th.
We've seen Bonacera around a little bit, so keep an eye on that driver, the number 11. 11th going to go to Gerard Fleurisson. 12th going to go to John Morgan. 13th to Richard Coulomb. 14th to Remigio de Pasqua. Kenneth Baldwin will round out the top 15. Then you got Jim Oliver, Joel Martin, Mark Leisen, Jose Carlos Campodonico, PJ Sally, David Riley, and Ronald McManus round out your 22-card field here from Watkins Glen, New York. And with these guys rolling off the starting grid, we'll be able to take you around Watkins Glen International. This track, 3.36 miles, 11 turns. Of course, we're down the traditional what we like to call 4 and 4A, which is the bus stop. None of that today, so we're going straight from the S's into turn 5 of the carousel, and this is going to be the most crucial part of the track, Jack, and it's this back straightaway, because you come on to here a very long shot into the carousel. You don't have that bus stop to slow you down. A lot of aerodynamics have come into play, both with these cars, the Skip Barber cars, basically anything open wheel. You get a huge slipstream heading down this back straightaway.
Certainly, I mean, you're going to be coming off turn 4 up through the S's at 120 plus mile an hour. So by the time, especially in the draft, you hit the carousel, you're going to be doing 160, 170 mile an hour in one of these things. Have it in a Formula 1 car, you're going to be doing 200 plus. So to be able to see what these cars are going to do today, Cisco, I think is going to be interesting. Obviously, last time we were here last season, we got 4-wide racing, and it was just brilliant to watch, and I think we're going to get that again today.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The slipstream is going to be well into play here. And as we come off the carousel, we head into the boot section of the track. So these guys, they're going to be hard on the brakes here and make sure they have to get these downshifts just right, Jack, because you're dropping at least one gear heading down into this very cambered left-hander, a short shot back up to the kind of opposite camber of the turn right at the toe of the boot, and then you head up down the bottom of the boot, I guess, into the heel.
Yeah, I think what you're probably going to be finding is you're going to be dropping 2 gears down into the chute. So down into turn 6, you'll be down 2 gears. Same again coming into the toes, but the chute is off camber. It is an extremely difficult turn in any car, but in something which is going to be an open wheel and something which is so sensitive, that could be even more crucial.
Yeah, into now the heel of the boot, 200, 100, another hard braking point, and this is a point where you see that concrete line on the inside of the turn. It's basically an easy apex for these guys. Just follow the concrete lines, a bit kind of like the carousel on the Nürburgring. Just follow the groove in the track, and you're going to be all right. And for the most part, it's going to be the case. Also coming out of the boot back onto the normal cup layout of the track, over the bridge here, the pedestrian walkway underneath, as well as I believe a little bit of a road. But then you head into 10 and 11, the final 2 turns here at Watkins Glen International. Very medium speed corners, and you want to make sure you get that apex right, or else you're off into the dirt and maybe even the gravel trap if you are not careful. As they round turn number 11, base car going to look to pit road this time, and wow, Lawrence is already ready to go. He was already ready out of the gate. We're green flag on another season of the 60 Plus Racing Adventures. Down into turn 1 we go, single file for the most part. They're going to make it through turn number 1, single file all the way through most of the field. You got a couple too wide as they head into the S's. Your first group of that is going to be Andrew Fiedler and Dono Fitterer. He's going to jump on the driver's right this time, coming out of the S's, and this, Jack, is where the slipstream comes into play. Drafting time. Side by side for the lead at the moment, but Lawrence is going to surrender that position to Stephen Garkner. Wasn't able to make it happen. Garkner has gained that position as they come out of the carousel. Now they'll head over to driver's right, hit the apex as they head into the boot. Hard on the brakes. These guys dropping a gear down to about 90 miles an hour as they head down towards the toe of the boot. Right now, single file for the most part through your whole field. 15 laps for these guys, so not a ton of racing time, but a decent amount to try and get these around. 006 looks like promise for Joe Wren. He had a spin coming into the boot We'll see if we can get a replay of that on screen. And he was going side by side with his teammate of Bruce Poole, and it just didn't work. Oh, he got contact actually from John Unsby, and Ren just went right around. Little tap of the tire barrier there to driver's left. Able to do a good job of hanging onto it. Joe Rudden able to hold on to it, and now David Riley also heading off track in the 014, now working for the Liverpool FC machine. But for everybody else through the rest of this field, it's single file as they head through 10 and 11 to complete lap number 1. Down into turn 1 they head once again. Steven Karkner leading the way. Bill Lawrence losing time a little bit, and Karkner just taking the head of this field and just leading absolutely everyone as they head through the S's for lap number 2 this time. And it was a little look to driver's right of John Unsby, seeing if he can get a little bit of advantage on Bruce Poole, but we head out of the S's. The closest battle, I know it's going to happen. Jos van der Ven is going to get a huge slipstream off the back bumper, the rear wing, I should say, of Bill Lawrence. He's going to look maybe to close up that gap. Nothing there for Ven to be able to make a move, so he's going to back off into the carousel. Very evenly spaced through first top 5. A little bit of a gap actually back to that 5th place car of Andrew Fiedler. I'll tell you what, Donald Fitterer has done a very excellent job of getting up to these top 4 and into now the toe of the boot. They come, Jack, and through everybody single file, very evenly spaced for the moment.
Fitterer I think is a new name to this series, so that's someone I've never seen before, but he's running in 4th, doing very well up at the front, and he's just staying on the back of Jos van der Ven, who we know is fast. Hopefully we can see him challenging towards the end of the season. Maybe he's just using the time to get used to this Pro Mazda. Obviously Pro Mazda is a lot different maybe to what he's driven in the past, so he's doing extremely well in 4th to carry on the lead. But Steven Karkner is a regular name to the series leading, and that is where I expect him to be.
Absolutely. Steven Karkner picking up right where he left off and continuing. He won the championship and he's going for more race wins, I'll tell you what, right now. And Bill Lawrence not too far off the rear wing of his teammate there. And Lawrence, a very good entry into turn 1, but Karkner's car just looks extremely hooked up. You saw a couple cars go over the zebras right there. Jos van der Ven took a little bit of a swing to driver's left and is maybe going to try and get a little more aero, but Lawrence is in a position where he has a very good run coming through the S's, and he's going to look to make a pass to driver's left into what would be the DRS zone if these cars had it, but they don't. And I'll tell you what, also in this battle, Jos van der Ven looking to maybe make it 3 wide.
Yeah, Jos van der Ven is just going to get the double draft coming on down into the carousel, but cannot get it done. But we are going to see Bill Lawrence to the lead in the 17 machine, Karkner down to 2nd in the 75. Jos van der Ven just not having the momentum to get past. Fitterer is still staying on the back. So Andrew Fiedler actually has caught up to these. So we've now got a 5-way battle for the lead, and then a little bit of gap back to Green. I'd say the top 6 at the moment, running in very close courses. We could have maybe even top 7. 7-way battle for the lead soon.
Yeah, these guys starting to accordion together. John Unsby even throw him into that equation. So top 8, very close together in a very aerodynamic track, this Watkins Glen International. And Steven Karkner still stalking the leader, seeing when he can make that move. If there will be a mistake, that he'll be able to get past his teammate Bill Lawrence, retake that lead. Fell from the lead rather on the back straightaway from that aerodynamic move. Now Jos van der Ven also looking. At this point, you're starting to just take stock of where you are, Jack, because now at this point we're getting into the stage of the race where we're past kind of the initial just passing of the beginning of the race, and now the question is you got to start running consistent laps, start working on that tire wear, so you're going to have a little bit better of a car than the guy in front of you. That's the key here.
Yeah, we're now coming on to lap 4 of this race, so the drivers will now just be getting into a groove, getting into something which they can keep up throughout the race. The first couple of laps are always hectic because so much is going on, you cannot get a groove, but as soon as you start settling down, it's just a lot easier. As we see again, who are we going to see? Steven Karkner, he's going to move to the outside, Jos van der Ven's going to follow him coming down the back straight. Van der Ven is going to get the double drive, we're going to go 3 wide. Oh, is Van der Ven going to get into the lead down into the carousel? Yes, he is. Bill Lawrence got completely cut off there. Kartner's going to try and go around the outside, but he's just not going to be able to get it done. So that's Jos van der Ven into the lead all the way from 3rd.
punches through the wall that was the 75 and the 17. So an excellent job. And now the 111 looking. Donald Fitterer gonna look to driver's left. That's not the best place, but he's gonna try and set up the corner on Bill Lawrence and is able to get there, but just no room for him to drop to the inside or anything like that. So Donald Fitterer still stuck behind the number 17 of Bill Lawrence. Nothing happening there. Meanwhile, Andrew Fiddler, we're going to have Fitterer and Fiddler be next to each other, so just bear with us here. Keep an eye on that ticker. That'll help us a little bit out as well. But Jos van der Ven continuing to lead this pack as they come out of the boot yet again. And Karkner kind of stalking him, but Jos van der Ven just did an excellent job heading into the boot. Was able to shoot the gap 3 wide, kept it very spaced out. No one was too worried. It was a little bit close, but van der Ven did an excellent job, and he'll lead this time by.
Yeah, Van der Ven getting an excellent move down the back straight, but don't expect him to have it easy. Stephen Karkner is right on his tail. Bill Lawrence is a little bit further behind, but he is definitely still within a shout. So Karkner will want to get that lead back as Van der Ven goes very wide coming out through turn one.
He's going to lose it! And it all went wrong for Jos van der Ven coming out of turn number 1 way too late on the brakes, I think was the 167 replay coming up on screen in a moment. He tried to get back on track, but the problem was there's that little bit of a kind of altitude change because he got into the grass. The pavement goes away, a little bit of a drop in the tarmac, and that's all it took to bounce the 167 around. Had no control over that car, and that's what can happen when you mess up turn number 1, Jack.
Yeah, Van der Ven is very unlucky. They just ran a little bit too wide around here. Obviously, turn 1 at Watkins Glen, you can take it wide, you can run over that curb and use that extra runoff, but as soon as you get on that grass, especially in something as sensitive as a Pro Mazda, you're going to go bouncing off into the wall, and I think Van der Ven will be kicking himself for that. He's obviously still going to have a second chance in race 2, but race 2 does not count towards the championship, unlike race 1. Race 1 is the only race you can score championship points in this series, so obviously we still have 11 rounds to go here in the 60 plus racing adventures in this season, but I think maybe his championship's already going to have taken a dent.
Yeah, that is not going to help at all the championship aspirations of the driver of the 167. The guy who finished second in this championship just 1 season ago. Not a great start for the driver of the 167, but Bill Lawrence retakes the lead with Stephen Karkner, his teammate, running in second. Those two working together once again. And they won the team championship just 1 season ago, so we know those two will go at it. They'll do an excellent job. Team SBMA, we're no longer using the numbers now. We have actual team names, so Team SBMA, and makes it a little bit easy because that's the first letters of the driver's name, so it makes it a little bit easy to figure out who's on that team.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up the team list now, but it just makes it a little bit easier for us broadcasters rather than having to refer to them as numbers, obviously having the names of the teams. But obviously there is the team numbers as well, or the team championship as well, that goes on the 60 plus racing adventures, just to make it that little bit more exciting.
Yeah, 75 as Stephen Karkner is going to get the cut back on the outside. A very good arrow run coming out of the S's. He'll pass Bill Lawrence up on the high side. Excellent job through the carousel was the driver of the 75. Now Daniel Fitterer has jumped up into this 3rd position now after Jos van der Ven. It all went wrong for him, so Fitterer looking to see when he can make the next move to try and gain a position here. They head through the toe of the boot, and now they're going to head down, I guess, the sole of the boot. I'll call it that because we're trying to figure out straightaway names here. So the sole of the boot into the heel of the boot this time, and Fitterer right on the rear gearbox of Bill Lawrence. A very aggressive entry into the heel. Nothing, though, on corner exit for Fitterer. He's going to have to try and make it happen, I think, coming out of the S's.
Yeah, I think that's the only place you're going to get any overtakes done here at Watkins Glen today. Obviously, we don't have the boot so you can get it on. Oh, no, not the boot.
The bus
stop. There we go. So you can't get it done on breaking into the bus stop. So the draft really is only the way to get it done. But that just makes it more exciting, sister, because you get the 4 wide racing that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Donald Fitterer gained a little bit of time on Bill Lawrence coming out of turns number 11. The 11 or the 17 rather got a little bit loose, but Fitterer was able to rein in that gap just a little bit. So the question is, I think he's a little too far back this time to make any sort of dent in that gap between himself and Lawrence. but he'll be there nonetheless. Lawrence actually in a decent position to try and get cut back on Karkner. He got a very good run coming out of the S's. Arrow coming into play, and here comes Bill Lawrence looking to driver's right this time. He'll have a nose. They'll go side by side for the lead. Goodbye, Bill Lawrence this time. Fitterer not able to jump in on the inside.
Yeah, good move by Lawrence there, back to the lead. It's just basically a game of dominoes here, Cisco. It's going to be a case of who is going to be in the right position to have that lead on the final lap, who's going to be the person who takes the win.
I'll tell you what, the guy who isn't going to take the win, Jos Vanderven, has pulled that car into the garage area. Night done for the driver of the 167. He will have to wait till race number 2 if he hopes to maybe make it happen on the podium, but unfortunate luck for him, not what he wanted in the first race of this season, but the two teammates still stay together. So we'll flash back in the field a little bit, see if we can find a little bit of a racing action. We haven't really talked about this group yet, but the second group off the leaders, you have this main group right now, which consists of Lawrence, Karkner, Fitterer, Fiddler, Unsby, and Brink. Those guys are all together. That's your top 6. Then you have right in the middle of everybody, Paulo Bonacera, kind of splitting the gap. And then you got the second group, and that consists of Remigio de Pasqua, Gerard Fleurisson, John Morgan, Joel Martin, Kenneth Baldwin, and Jim Oliver. That's your second pack here. And another accordion effect is actually Fleurisson going to go a little bit wide there and lose a little bit of time to John Morgan.
Yeah, I think that's just unlucky for him. You're just going to be, it's a case of you're just behind traffic, so you've got to time it right in the draft to get positions done. I think that's the only way you're going to get past here at Watkins Glen. But this second pack are as close as the first one. Yeah, Cisco, what do you got?
Yeah, I was good. Steven Karkner just made it happen once again through the S's. Lead swaps, and this time Donald Fitterer is going to be there. He's going to have the undercut on the inside. He'll get 1, maybe even 2. He'll go side by side into the carousel. Isn't enough. Karkner sends it in on the outside and is able to make it stick up there. A very good corner exit for the 75 of Steven Karkner. Donald Fitterer going to go a little bit of a block there on the 17 of Bill Lawrence, and he'll secure that second place position for the moment. So back up in your lead pack. Fitterer finally able to split up the teammates, at least for the moment.
Yeah, I think Fitterer is going to be under pressure from above and behind at the moment. I think you'll want the two teammates will want to be 1 and 2 to take maximum points out of this race. Obviously, just remember the 60+ racing adventures. If you finish in the top 3, you are not allowed to race in the second race, which just means that we will always have 2 completely different podiums in the 2 different races, which I think also just means we get to see different variety of drivers in the race. And you do have 2 qualifying sessions, so you have to re-qualify as well, which just makes it even more exciting.
Yeah, it does. A little bit of a battle right now for that 8th and 9th position. Gerard Fleurisson kind of scented it coming out of the boot, wasn't able to make it happen. John Morgan tried to get the cut, didn't happen. Meanwhile, Joel Martin, and Kenneth Baldwin were fighting on the boot, but they've spread out as well. Everybody back single file coming out of the boot. And actually, Fleurisson looks a little bit loose on that number 12. He's been wiggling, kind of coming out of the corners, and that car just hasn't looked happy. But those guys get ahead for the S's. The lead pack there right now in the 111 looking for that aero draft. He's got a very good run coming out of the S's. He's looking for the lead.
Yeah, we're going to see 2 wide again. Donald Fitterer going to go to the outside, Steven Karkner to the inside. The 75 didn't really have much choice in the matter, so the 111 going to go. But look here, the 17 of Bill Lawrence going to do it again, going to come through the middle. We're going to see 3 wide coming down the back straight into the carousel. Lawrence is just going to be able to get it done, and Fitterer actually goes down to 3rd. Oh, is he going to lose to 4th as well? Maybe even 5th.
Fiddler just jumped in on driver's right, was able to steal that position away, was able to knock the positioning out of the 111, wasn't able to get in line, and he basically got freight trained and lost. Basically went from 2nd. He could lose all the way back to 5th because John Unsby going to make contact. He's going to get a little bit tight coming out of the corner. More contact, and Donald Fitterer not happy at all with being freight trained. He falls back to 4th, lost 2, almost 3 positions, and John Unsby just got side slammed right there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there for Fitterer and John Unsby. I think that's just a racing incident. You wouldn't be able to avoid that. But Fitterer losing 2 positions in the space of as many corners, that's even more unlucky. But I'm pretty sure in the remaining 6 laps, he will want to be able to regain back that time he's lost.
Yeah, he's going to want to gain that time back. Meanwhile, John Unsby has lost a bunch of time back through this lead pack, and it's broken him off the tail end. He's going to try and make it up, though. Fitterer and Fiddler had a little bit of a disagreement coming out of the corners, and now it's going to be a case up to Donald Fitterer to get past the 101. Oh, they're also in the 101, the 111. They're making this really hard for us, Jack, but nonetheless, Fitterer looking to see if he can get the cut. He's got a good run coming into the S's. Now the aerodynamics coming into play. He is going to get the draft. Very good apex on the first half of the S's, and here comes the aero coming into play for the 111.
Yeah, the 111 is just going to be able to get up to the back, stay in behind the drafter for as long as possible to get the best slingshot he can. Going to move down to the inside, but I don't think he's got the momentum to get past. No change for the lead this lap, which is a first for about the last 10 laps. But what we're going to see now is they're going to go side by side
contact!
the carousel.
Sorry, contact back in the... Sorry to cut you off there, Jack. Contact between Kenneth Baldwin, and they're going 3 wide for 8th, 9th, and 10th, and big contact there. It looks like Jim Oliver's going to go around. No, that was Kenneth Baldwin who went around there. They were going 3 wide out of the S's. Replay coming up on screen in a moment. They went 3 wide. It did not work at all. Baldwin tried to get a little bit of a side draft going on the 12. Hit his wheel contact, going down the back straightaway, and then going into the carousel, did not get off the gas with enough speed, and just nearly took out Fleuris, and instead took himself out of the equation.
Yeah, just trying to take off almost there for the 3 of Kenneth Baldwin, but that is unlucky for him. But the lead's still going to be the same, and it's going to be staying there. But again, we've got to keep our eye on these battles a bit further back. 7th, 8th, and 9th between Paolo Bonacera, John Morgan, and Gerald Fleurisson as well. Gerald Fleurisson, I think, is a little bit further back. Either that, or he's made up some positions.
Well, remember that contact that he had there. He was able to gain a position because that effectively took Kenneth Baldwin out of that fight. So Fleurisson up to P8 right now. John Morgan P9. And Oliver up to 10th. So great run right now for Jim Oliver, making it happen. Kind of spread out through, though, for the most part, through these guys. Your closest battle right now, Joe Wren right on the rear gearbox of Remigio De Pasqua. And De Pasqua is kind of falling down the order a little bit, falling back to 13th. And Joe Wren going to try and go for the cutback down into turn number 1. Hard on the brakes goes the 006. He's going to send it in, and a great job by the 006. Great pass, but this ain't over yet. Remigio De Pasqua is looking for more.
We just had a change for the lead. Bill Lawrence has lost the lead again to Stephen Cartner. Stephen Cartner just being able to do that on the back straight. So a change for the lead here on lap 11, 4 laps to go. Who is going to have the slingshot on the final lap to be able to keep that lead? But Stephen Cartner is going to be promoted back into the lead. Bill Lawrence is going to drop down to 2nd. Donald Fitterer as well, going to be trying to challenge for 3rd place, just not close enough this time around. John Ansby is still there. So essentially we have a 5-way battle for the lead. The top 5 covered by around 2 seconds at the moment. And Franz Brink in 6th is not far back, so we could have a 6-way battle for the lead, but Bill Lawrence and Stephen Cartner, the 2 teammates, still going all out to try and get that win.
Yeah, everybody once again spaced out. It's about 0.3 back to Fiddler between himself and Lawrence, and then 0.9 back to Donald Fitterer there for those guys. So unfortunately for them, they're just kind of spaced out to the point where they're going to need that aerodynamic edge, Jack, to really make a play here. They're kind of at the point where they just have to wait until the draft is its most potent before they can actually make a move, because otherwise it looks like these guys just can't get to each other.
No, they can't, and they do need that draft to be able to get past each other. Watkins Glen is a serious drafting circuit, especially without the bus stop. So Bill Lawrence is going to be using that to his advantage this time, going to come up through the S's. He's only about 15 metres back at the moment from Stephen Cartner, and he's getting closer, 10 metres. He's getting closer by the second, going to be coming off that. The S's is going to go to the outside, push Stephen Cartner down to the inside. 2 teammates side by side once again. Cisco, I don't want to see these 2 end in contact, but these 2 are really going for it. As Bill Lawrence looks like he's got the lead done, but look at the 101 coming up behind him.
Yeah, it's a little bit kind of like what we used to see in the NASCAR Cup Series with the swapping of positions, and it's just these guys, because they have that draft, they're able to get the cutback. They're a little bit faster, so they keep swapping positions. But remember, those are teammates, so they are battling for the win, but they're not gonna, I don't think one of them's gonna wreck the other person for the lead here. I will tell you what, though, Fiddler just dived it in at the heel of the boot, and he's gonna shove Karkner offline a little bit. Karkner gonna fall back to 3rd, and Fitterer looking to put Karkner back to 4th. Freight train him like what happened to him. He actually backs out of it there, and looks like they're gonna go single file. So Fitterer decided he didn't want a part of that for whatever reason. I honestly thought he had a shot at the position there, Jack, but backs out of it early. Fitterer just doesn't want maybe anything to happen right now.
No, I don't think he does. I think Fitterer just wants to sit there, make sure he gets... Oh, so we're going to see John Ansby go up the inside. Fitterer, I think, just got a bad run coming off of turn 9. So John Ansby is going to be moved up to 4th, Fitterer down to 5th. I think Fitterer has just accepted defeat and I think he'll go for the win in the second race. But Fiddler, he is not going to, Bill Lawrence is not going to give up. He's leading at the moment. Stephen Karkner is just going to be dropping down to third. So he's lost 2 positions on this lap. The teammates split by Andrew Fiddler on the 101. So could we see Andrew Fiddler competing for the lead by the end of this?
We could. I'll tell you what, though, Bill Lawrence, he's on lap number 13 right now. If he can hold off, if he was holding off his teammate as well as he did, Karkner's in a position where he might be able to get the aero cut back, but he could just be battling with Fiddler alone here. So either way, Karkner going to look to drivers right, and actually, never mind, because look at how powerful the draft is. Both of them have a huge run on the leader. Do we see the 3 wide? I think it's a little too late this time. Fiddler, though, going to send it on the outside, and he's going to make sure he doesn't get cut out on the inside, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Stephen Karkner, excellent run through the carousel, but Fiddler going to dive it in, and a little bit of a block by Lawrence. Fiddler had to get out of it.
Yeah, we did see a little bit of 3 wide between the 17, the 101 and the 75, but wasn't for long. We've just seen the 610 of Mark Bryson as well down onto pit lane on lap number 12. But we've just seen Stephen Karkner promoted up into second. The 2 Canadian teammates going to be going for it once again, but I can't see anything happen. I think he's going to have to wait till lap 14 until he can have a choice. But Andrew Fiddler's really not giving up in the 101. John Unsby and... Oh, John Unsby's got a problem.
Yeah, massive problems for the 61. That happened when they came into the boot, made contact with Donald Fitterer. And what happened? They made a little bit of a wheel contact. Unsby, I think, went for the corner, and Fitterer was there coming, kind of holding that line. And Unsby had nowhere to go. Wheel contact made, and that basically broke the chassis of the number 61. So he's going to limp that car back home, but that took him out of this thing. They'll promote Franz Brink at 5th place position, and Fitterer will maintain 4th. The only person he really has to worry about is Brink in that 5th place, because the gap between the top 3 and everybody else has opened up. It's about 1.3 seconds between Donald Fitterer, or I should say Andrew Fiddler and Donald Fitterer. Those guys, that's a big enough gap where I don't think the triple ones can be able to do anything. So this will be the battle for the race win, I get the feeling. The 17, the 75, and the 101.
Yeah, well, I've just seen a massive incident between the 06 of Joe Wren and John Unsby in the 61, who's had that unfortunate incident. Joe Wren just sideswiping the 61 of John Unsby, sending them both into the barriers and both rolling over end on these cars, and that has taken them both out of the race. Joe Wren being the unfortunate incident there. And Stephen Karkner's moved into the lead. We have a new leader of Stephen Karkner. Bill Lawrence has dropped down to second. Andrew Fiddler is just going to stay in third. Backmarker's getting out of the way now as they go down into the heel. But this race is getting exciting. Just 1.5 laps left to go.
Yeah, we should just put a ticker at this point that just says 1/2 Stephen Karkner and Bill Lawrence, because they've been swapping it all day. Andrew Fiddler was able to get up there for a little bit, but once again gets boxed out by the teammate. So Fiddler at this point looking for any way past that he can get. And as they come out of the boot back onto the Cup circuit, only a couple corners left before they take the white flag. And Fiddler looking to the right side, not going to happen. A very good corner exit. He's there. He just needs to make this happen. He's running out of chances to do so. White flag going to be in the air this time as they come out of the final turn.
Yeah, just going to come down onto the final straight. We've got 1 more lap to go. Bill Lawrence is going to be sitting in second. Stephen Karkner in first. These two are definitely not going to give up. One of them is going to take the win. We don't know who. Could even be Donald Fitterer sitting there in fourth as the top 3 collide. Andrew Fiddler is just on the tail of Bill Lawrence as they head up into the S's for the final time. 75 from 17 from 101. Let's see how this goes as we come onto the back straight.
This is not what Karkner wanted, because Lawrence is going to have a very good run coming out of the S's. They're going to have to block a little bit. Lawrence looking to driver's right. No move from Stephen Karkner, and Andrew Fiddler could capitalize. He may try and shoot this 3 wide. He'll look to inside. No, the block from Lawrence. Not going to happen. Fiddler looks to driver's middle this time. Will he be able to do anything? Not going to happen. He's going to take the inside line. Can he get past Karkner as they come through the carousel?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate there, but Bill Lawrence is going to take the lead. We did see 3 wide from these two, but Stephen Karkner's going to throw it out the inside. Going to go deep. Here comes Andrew Fiddler. Andrew Fiddler's going to go up into second, split the 2 teammates, but not going to be able to get the lead. So it looks like Stephen Karkner has regained the lead, but Bill Lawrence again going to take the inside line. Is he going to be able to get it though? They're going to go 2 wide coming out of the heel, or sorry, the boot, but no, they're not going to get it done. Andrew Fiddler maybe going to keep second there as they head down into the heel.
If the longer P2 fights for that position. The better Stephen Kartner is going to be a very close moment there for Bill Lawrence, but Fiddler might have just secured that second spot. He's running out of corners to make this happen on a turn number 9 this time, back onto the Cup circuit. He's got one more drafting opportunity, but I think he might be too far back. And for Stephen Kartner, the fighting with his teammate, it's going to pay off for the 75. Champion just one season ago gets back to victory lane in his very first race this season. Stephen Kartner is going to be a winner here at Watkins Glen International.
Ooh, that was very close there from Donald Ferrer in the 111 as well, just nearly taking third position, but Freda taking fourth. Your top three: Stephen Kartner, Andrew Fiddler second in the 101, and Bill Lawrence in the 17. We've seen some very close racing in the first race. Expect exactly the same thing in just half an hour's time, again from Watkins Glen International Speedway. So let's see what they can produce again.
Yeah, a couple guys still have to finish out their laps here. Everybody else, for the most part, starting to power down the cars, take it to victory lane, and we may as well, while they're kind of finishing up the laps here, well, let's run you through your full race results here from Watkins Glen International for the 60-plus racing adventures. Stephen Kartner got it done. First win of the season. Ended last season at the top of the board. He starts it at the top of the board. He'll take the race win here from Watkins Glen International. Andrew Fiddler comes home second. Third gonna go to Bill Lawrence. Fourth gonna go to Donald Fitterer. Fifth gonna go to Franz Brink. Sixth gonna go to Paolo Bonacera. Gerard Florison's gonna finish seventh. Eighth gonna go to Jim Oliver. Remigio De Pasqua is gonna run ninth, and 10th gonna go to PJ Sally.
11th is going to go to Ronald McManus in the 78. 12th going to go to Jose Carlos Camputicino, who had that incident on the first corner on the first turn. 13th to Bruce Paul, 14th to John Morgan, and 15th to Richard Coulomb, just finishing out his lap. 16th to Joel Martin, and then I think that is everyone. So all your finishes now have crossed the line once Joel Martin has in just a few seconds' time.
And then you got David Riley, who's going to finish one lap down. Also John Unsby. Now, actually, John Morgan's going to grab that position right at the end. He'll fall to 16th after he had an accident, it looks like, on the final lap. So not how John Morgan wanted that to happen. Then you got David Riley, John Unsby, Joe Wren, Mark Leisen, this is your top 20, and then Kenneth Baldwin and Jos van der Ven round out your 22-car field. But we're going to jump over and talk to Stephen Kartner, who got the win here in the first race of this season of the 60-plus Racing Adventures, and we've pulled him into victory lane here. Steve, you did it again. Finished last season on top of the standings. You make it 1 for 1 here in the season. Talk us through it, man. It's got to feel good.
Wow, what a wonderful race that was. Start to finish, it was a tight race with really great. I want to thank Joel and Mark for putting this race on today. I had a
Well, we'll see you in Monza. How about that?
There.
That's the guy who finished P1 second.
You must have great respect for the guys you're racing with. You were racing 3 wide at points. Obviously, we have seen 4 wide here at Watkins Glen. And the top 4 were never really separated by more than 2 seconds. So how was that for you as a driver for the whole race, just knowing that if you make any mistakes, there is someone else there just who could pick it up straight away?
Well, I mean, the worst thing for me is if I was to sort of make a mistake and take somebody else off. So we always, I think in this league, we always have respect for each other, and but it's serious pressure. Yeah, you feel like you're under real pressure all the way around. So. Yeah,
certainly. So then, Andrew, who got it done for you today? Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Well, firstly, we thank Donald for setting this thing up. That started us all off, and Joel and Mark for keeping it going, which has been great, and really my teammates who backed me up all the way, I think, there.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is Andrew Fiddler, your second place finisher. Back to you, Cisco.
Yeah, I've caught up with the guy who finished third in that battle, and it was a great battle for Bill Lawrence. And Bill, yeah, you had a shot at it there towards the end. You weren't able to capitalize, but a great battle nonetheless. You led some laps. Talk us through it. It was a great race.
Yes, thank you. Really enjoyed that race. I was working well with Steve there, and it was tight all up front. We knew it was going to be a draft fest. So it was great racing. Last season, Andrew and I finished, he was 1, I was 2. I should have had him on the last lap. I knew he was going to be tough, but that's the way it goes. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And the battle was between your teammate. It's a little bit easier to battle in those scenarios, Bill. I mean, a lot of the guys that run this league do know each other very well, but especially with your teammate, does that make it a little bit easier to have that close racing?
Yeah, we run a TeamSpeak channel, so we know what each other's plans are as we're heading into a corner, the draft, etc. It really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll let you take a moment. Anyone you want to say hello to, sponsors, shout outs?
I definitely want to say hi to our other partner, Mark Robertson. Mark's in Central Florida and Polk County and suffered through this last bout of wind down there, so we miss him today. Andy Morgan, also a member of our team, was part of a move. Looking forward to seeing those two guys back. But to all the people in Florida, Texas, the Caribbean, suffered greatly.
Well, it's Bill Lawrence. He finishes third. Bill, we'll let you head up to the stands for race number 2, and we'll see you in Monza.
Thanks, guys, for your coverage. Really appreciate it.
And I believe I'll throw the mic one more time over to Jack Stouts, who's got up with the guy who was almost able to grab that third place position. That's Donald Fitterer, and he's caught up with you.
Donald, we saw you just at the end. Heartbreak for you getting 4th position, although you get another try in race 2. You nearly got it coming down into the final 2 turns on that final lap. How was it for you out there, just knowing all those other cars around you, using that draft to your advantage? It looks like Donald is having some issues, so maybe we won't be catching up with him.
No,
now we got him.
Yep.
There we go. Can you hear me, Donald?
Yes, sir.
There we go. So I'll just ask you the question again. First of all, congratulations, 4th place. You almost had 3rd, but you do get another chance just later on in race number 2. Just how was it for you out there? Obviously, we saw you make that awesome move, getting two positions on one lap, and that was brilliant to watch. Just take us through what it's like for a driver using the draft to get past cars.
Well, for me, it's just getting used to this car. I'm mostly an SRF racer, and people are just fast here. And I'm just trying to hold my position and be smooth and get through and not hurt anybody.
Well, obviously, what's your strategy going to be for race 2? Obviously, you know you're going to be one of the quick guys. So, what is your philosophy going to be for race 2? How are you going to approach it?
Well, hopefully I get somebody to work with me and we can pass each other on that back straight and get a gap with the other group. Didn't seem like we were doing a lot of that in this last race. If we actually worked together, we could really get some speed up on that back straightaway.
So then, Donald, anyone you want to thank for today?
Oh my gosh, the organizers. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, but personal reasons I couldn't, and I'm just glad they're still doing it. Thanks very much, guys.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is Donald Fitterer, your 4th place finisher. He's going to be the only driver who we've interviewed who's going to have a second chance in race number 2, which will be coming your way in just about 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. And going to be another round from the Watkins Glen International, but we have about 15 minutes till that race, so we're going to step aside, let Hugo drive the production truck out of the track, then back into the track. So while he's doing that, apparently he has to do like a 20-point turn just to do that. So we're going to step aside, throw you some ads, and when we come back, it'll be race number 2 of the 60-plus racing adventures right here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. See you in a bit.
This is Circuit de la Sarthe, known around the racing world simply as Le Mans. Since 1923, this track in western France has been home to the world's original 24-hour endurance race. Coupled with the likes of the legendary Indianapolis 500 and the Monaco Grand Prix, the 24 Hours of Le Mans is widely regarded as the world's most prestigious endurance race, and it forms a part of motorsport's Treble Crown. The first race was held on the outskirts of Le Mans back in 1906 and was called the French Grand Prix, the first Grand Prix of its kind. It was run on public roads, with one lap of the circuit stretching just over 103 kilometers. Then, in 1922, the secretary of the AECO, Georges Durand, was given 100,000 francs to facilitate and devise a new race for the region. Durand took this as an opportunity to stage something completely unheard of, a 24-hour endurance race that would push the modern race car to its limits, where manufacturers would prove their worth to the world. Durand's original Circuit de la Sarthe stretched 17.2 kilometers and was entirely comprised of public roads. It ventured into the city of Le Mans and stretched to a tight hairpin before venturing on to the 8-kilometer long Mulsanne Straight. In 1929, the hairpin was bypassed due to safety concerns with expanding town suburbs, and safety was always a thing that changed and progressed the racetrack over the years. In 1932, the track as we know began to take shape. That was prompted by the construction of a new 1.5 kilometer bypass running from the start-finish area to the new entrance of the Mulsanne Straight, the now infamous Tête Rouge corner. This section featured the fast first curve that remains today, and what would later become the location of the famous Dunlop Bridge. Now, back in 1923, it was a field of 33 drivers that competed in the inaugural event, and their average speed, 57 miles an hour. By 1956, the field had increased to 49 cars, and they were running at nearly twice the average speed, at 104 miles an hour. As the cars became quicker and the competition rose, the track continued to evolve. For example, in 1972, the final section of the track was completely reconfigured to bypass the dangerous Maison Blanche kink. This included the addition of the Porsche curves and the revised Ford chicanes to slow the cars on the run from Annage corner to the start-finish line. These features remain today. One of the then traditional aspects of the race was the Le Mans start. Drivers would stand across to the track where the cars were parked, and then at the drop of the French tricolor, they ran to their car, climbed in, fired the engine, engaged first gear, and pulled away in a cloud of exhaust and burned rubber. Not surprisingly, this was discontinued for safety reasons, as drivers would either rush to buckle their seatbelts, or they didn't even bother buckling them at all. Dan Gurney, who together with AJ Foyt won the 1967 race, famously recounted using his knees to steer his Ford GT Mark II on their opening lap at speeds well above 200 miles an hour whilst he fastened his seatbelt. Since 1971, Le Mans has reverted to the more traditional rolling start used throughout endurance racing today. Le Mans will ever be known as the proving ground for car manufacturers and a lifelong dream for drivers. It continues to rank as the pinnacle of endurance racing that inspires similar races to take shape around the world. Things like the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring, or the 24 Hours of Spa, or the Rolex 24 at Daytona. But there will only ever be one Le Mans. Experience Le Mans on iRacing.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him, jam it. Get ready. Dude, more heads up in that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. We're behind you. Tell. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar. The in and out lap. What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. He hit me. Inside, inside, outside, inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Back live here at Watkins Glen International for race number 2 of round 1 of the 60 Plus Racing Adventures, right here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Cisco Scaramuza, Jack Stiles, Hugo Louise here with you to bring you all the action and great race round number 1, Jack, and we're here for another case. These are the guys who did not make it on the podium in race number 1. Everybody else who was on the podium, they're sitting in the stands for this race.
Yeah, they are. They're not allowed to race in race number 2. We're seeing slightly different top 3 for this race. We're seeing John Ansby, Joe Rann, and Joel Martin at the moment in quali. The guy, Donald Fritter, there in 4th, so he's still going to be a big contender in this race. But we're seeing some of the guys who we didn't see in race 1 just come back for race 2 and are going to be making a name for themselves. A lot of the names that we're going to be mentioning today already have been seen on RaceSpot TV in the 60 Plus Racing Adventures, but it's nice to see some new names here.
Yeah, absolutely. One guy making his laps around right now. The only one on track at the moment is the 52 of PJ Sally, so why not hop on board with him for maybe a lap? We can talk a little bit more about the driving dynamics of Watkins Glen International. We mentioned a lot during race number 1. This is a very aerodynamic track as we hop on board. Down into turn number 1, a very high braking corner there, and you saw him have to get hard on the brakes. Now, there's kind of 2 schools of thought there, Jack, because you can either do what he did and stay on line, or you can go offline over into the runoff area on the left side.
Yeah, there's 2 different lines you can really take through turn 1. You can sort of either take the normal line, stay inside the white lines, or you can really run out wide, take speed. I think both are about the same amount of time. You aren't really going to lose much time going on one of the others. You just see Sally going onto the grass a little bit coming out to the back straight. But up through the S's, we'll be flat in these cars. I would say the carousel, which we've seen Sally going through now, is going to be down 1 gear as he just runs over. I think he would have invalidated his lap time there. So he's just going to be, it's just looking at how these off-corner cameras are going to unsettle the car. And Watkins Glen is definitely a challenge in these cars. It's a challenge in any car, Cisco.
Yeah, it is. And down into the heel of the boot, or actually the toe of the boot, rather, as we head towards the heel. This is kind of this what I've been calling the soul of the boot, because this really doesn't have a name yet. So I like, let's submit this to Watkins Glen International. This should be the name of your part of the track. But either way, oh, he's actually going to get the curb, and that's what can happen. These zebra curbs, very dangerous here. They're not like the normal red and white that you see on a lot of the FIA and WEC tracks. They're a little bit harder to detect, and they're actually kind of similar to the ones you see at Indianapolis, kind of the same sort of zebra cut in that way. So we'll see if we can, if anyone else is making laps. Not the case, so we'll stay above the track at the moment, but very tough zebra curves here.
Yeah, the curbs are definitely one thing you want to avoid, especially in these cars. If you hit them in maybe something like a GT car, you're just going to give the car a little bit of a bounce. You might get up on two wheels, have a little bit of fun going sideways, but in these single-seaters, they're a lot more sensitive, so hitting those curves is definitely something you want to avoid. It looks as though everyone has put in a quality time now, Cisco, so I think it's time to go down to the grid.
Yep, it is. The guys driving the Pro Mazda, the baby Indy cars that were one of the cars on the Mazda road to IndyCar here. So a lot of characteristics are shared between the Dallara chassis and this one worked on by Mazda itself. But that's about it here. So let's take a moment and let's jump down your qualifying order list for race number 2 here at the Watkins Glen International. John Unsby got the pole with the time of 1:42.405, and then right behind him to his outside is going to be Joe Wren in the 006 with a .412 lap time, and Joe Martin, Donald Fitterer, who, remember, he was right on the cusp of making it in the top 3, didn't happen. He's going to start 4th. 5th going to go to John Morgan.
6th is going to go to Franz Brink, and alongside him on row number 3 is going to go to the 57 machine of Bruce Poole. 8th to Gerald Florissen in the 17, and 9th to Jos van der Ven, someone who we saw up at the front in race number 1, not getting the quality time that he wanted here for race number 2. Row 5, 10th is going to go to Paolo Bonacera, 11th to Jim Oliver, row 6, Richard Coulomb, and 13th, Remigo de Pasqua.
14th going to go to Ronald McManus, and then Jose Carlos Campodonico going to start 15th. 16th going to go to Leeson, and PJ Sally starting to his driver's left side. Then 18th going to be David Riley. 19th going to go to Michael Key, and then, well, that rounds out the field because Bill Lawrence and Stephen Carpenter, they aren't driving. So they're just here chilling out in the spectator stand, so they're going to enjoy the front row seat to this race here, race number 2 at the Watkins Glen International for the 60-plus racing adventures. And now we're just waiting on the pace car driver to head out here and take these guys on their parade lap around the track. As we mentioned before, on race number 1, 3.36 mile track, 11 turns. We aren't using the bus stop. The biggest characteristic here completely changes how you run that back straightaway, Jack.
Yeah, it does. I mean, what we're going to be seeing is what we saw in the first race, just cars using the draft to be able to get positions done. That's really the only place we saw overtaking happen. Cisco was on that backstroke between 4 and 5 and down into the carousel. We did see some moves down into the chute and also down into turn number 1, but not really anywhere else on the circuit. So I think the place we're going to be looking at for overtaking manoeuvres is going to be the back straight. But John Unsby, our pole sitter, it looks like he's going to be starting from pole. Sorry, the pits.
Yeah, he missed the starting grid, and yep, he's in his pit box. So Unsby deciding he doesn't want to lead this field into turn number 1. I'm not sure what that says about his confidence here, but either way, he was not happy with the car. Also, one car we're losing is Ronald McManus had problems getting away from the starting grid, so not able to make it on track is that driver. So he's going to fall out early here. But everybody kind of going to fill in where Unsby was, so that means it's going to be Martin and Wren, Joe Wren and Joe Martin going to be starting side by side. The teammates, you see the green and white colors, both of those guys, teammates, and running very similar paint schemes are those two drivers.
Yeah, I think the two teammates are probably going to be working together to be able to just maybe try and get a gap. Something which is going to be very hard with the 111 and Donald Fritter just behind them, because Fritter will be wanting to make up from the losses that he made in race 1, not getting on the podium. But John Unsby, he was sat on the grid and all of a sudden went back to the pit lane. Not really sure what happened there for the 61 machine, but John Unsby is going to be starting from pit lane here for race number 2. So that's going to mean that our front row is going to be two teammates, much like we saw in the last race with Stephen Kurtner and Bill Lawrence. John Morgan is going to be promoted up into 4th, and so on and so on. But let's see how this start goes with Donald Fritter just sitting there in 3rd, because he is going to want to make up some time.
Yeah, he's going to want to make up some time, and he has the opportunity to do so. He didn't move up the grid. It was everyone to that inside line, the driver's right there, that's able to move up spots. So Joel Martin, guys like John Morgan, he's going to be up a spot, as well as Bruce Poole, Jos van der Ven, and then Paulo Bonacera. That kind of group through the top 10 and through the top 12 are everyone who's able to move up because of Unsby deciding not to start in the field here and start from pit road. But we come down into the boot. Once again, you mentioned the off-camber corners, and another case happening here. So either way, we're just waiting at this point, Jack. These guys, what's going through the minds here as the cars get ready to take the second race?
I would be thinking the drivers, what currently going through drivers' heads is that they're just going to be planning how they're going to get down into turn 1, making sure the tyres are warm, making sure the brakes are warm so they get the most effective stopping into turn number 1. I don't think I'll be thinking too much about it. Obviously, if you think too much about it at the start, you usually mess it up anyway. I've done it plenty of times. And rolling starts are much more difficult because there is so much more to think about, especially if you're leading off the field. So Joe Renner's got the hardest job. He has to choose when to go at the right time to not only get the jump to be able to get a gap down into turn 1, but also not overtake the pace car while it's on pit lane before the green flag flies, so he doesn't get a jump start. That is something which could be crucial, and if he does do that, he gets a stop and go penalty. Something that I haven't seen very often here, but it still could happen. So Joe Wren is definitely going to have the hardest job as we come round to turn number 10, getting ready for green.
Well, as John Unsby has decided to start from pit road, that means the driver from Texas, Joel Martin, is going to lead the field here to the green flag on the driver's inside. The driver from Ohio on the outside, Joe Run. The teammates of Team Green are going to lead the field to the green flag. It is in the air on the loud pedal, and wow, the 111 got a great start. Martin did not, and we are away here at Watkins Glen. Down to turn number 1 once again, and Martin gonna lose a lot of positions there, and it's gonna be the driver of Joe Wren gonna lead the field through here for the first time. Up the S's they go. Donald Fitterer not wasting any time, right on the rear gearbox of Joe Wren. He's gonna look for the lead, coming out of the S's to the driver's left.
Yeah, Donald Fitterer is just going to he got a good start there, making his way out to second before turn 1. Already going to make his way up into the lead. We might see some 3 wide here in a minute. Let's see. Are we going to? Looks like the number 53 of Franz Brink already up from 5th place into 3rd. But Donald Fitterer is going to be able to take the lead in the 111. So Donald Fitterer, your new leader here at Watkins Glen on the first lap, but that lead is assured to change. Currently, Joe Martin is sitting in second. Franz Brink up 3 places, up 4 places now as he goes up into second in the 53 machine. Franz Brink has had the start that he would have wished for.
Yeah, he is tearing through this field right now, doing an excellent job, and he's going to make contact. Contact made. He's going to go around, and it all went wrong there. Looks for the most part no one else going to make contact, but that happened at the toe of the boot, and it was contact with Joe Wren, and Wren, I think, just missed his braking point or got a little bit tight. That's exactly what happened. He was down on that inside line, got tight, got straight into Brink's car. Brink just had to hold on and did a good job of getting that car. No one else was able to hit him, so a good job by the pack, but Brink not happy at all after that.
No, he certainly won't be Jos van der Ven. I believe that is just going around his outside there while he was stationary. But Franz Brink, that is his race over. But it looks as though, I believe, Joe Wren is still in the lead. Oh no, sorry, it's Donald Fitterer in the 111.
Yeah, Fitterer was able to drive away from them at this point, so now Wren and Martin sit 2nd and 3rd for the moment. Morgan, who was Brink's teammate, is sitting in 4th right now with the potential to maybe get up there and make it a little bit interesting for those 3rd and 2nd positions, and everybody else pretty spaced out for the most part through the rest of this field. A little bit of a battle right now with Lizen and Jose Carlos going at it, and that's the 610. That's another pair of teammates right there, the 610 and the 44 going at it. And that's really the only side-by-side battle for the moment. Everybody else single file when they're on the back straightaway. And Lizen looking like he's going to block Jose Carlos a little bit there and kind of break up that draft, trying to break the slipstream. Then, meanwhile, those two also have teammates. They're a little bit further up in the field. And they were going at it. Remigio de Pasqua and Paolo Bonacera, they were going at it as well.
Yeah, John Unsby is also making his way up through the field now, up into P15 in the 61 machine, having got 2 positions in the space of just over 30 seconds. So John Unsby is definitely on his way back up on a recovery drive from having to start from the pit lane. But Joe Wren, I believe he's going to have damage to his front end, and that is going to affect him in the draft. But Donald Fitterer at the moment doing an amazing job in the lead, and Joel Martin sitting in third. John Morgan not too far back in fourth. We're having the top 5. So that is Donald Fritter, Joe Wren, Joel Martin, John Morgan, and Gerald Forreston in the 17. Up 3 places on his starting position. They are covered by less than 100 metres at the moment, Cisco.
And Wren is in a very good position here. It looks like he's going to be close enough to where he's going to have a massive aerodynamic advantage when he comes to the S's this time. Not a great exit, but he's still there as they head across the start-finish line and they complete lap number 2 this time, heading on to lap number 3. Into turn 1 they go, and Fitterer's not a great corner entry. Wren's going to decide, I'm not waiting until the S's. I'm doing this right now to driver's right, and he's going to have a good run through the first half. Can he clear the 111? He's going to look to. Doesn't have a shot, though. Fitterer strong on the outside. Going to make it work. Makes it stick. But Wren's going to have the inside line with drafting help right behind him. Joel Martin kind of pushing a little 2-car tandem as they head down the back straightaway.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a 4-car tandem in a minute. John Morgan probably wants a piece of this, sitting in 4th. But we're seeing the 2 teammates just drafting each other at the moment. Just Joel Martin going to stay back. Oh, nearly contact between the 2 teammates and Martin and Wren. But Donald Fritter going to hold the lead. That was probably very scary there for Fritter. Didn't know whether he'd be able to hold that. But Gerald Forreston has all of a sudden come into this. He's going to go down the inside of John Morgan for 4th. Is he going to be able to do it this side by side through turn number 6, coming through the chute? Still side by side. John Morgan going to have the inside line for the toe. Probably going to be able to hold this, but Gerald Forreston just not being able to get it done there around the outside of the 17 car. John Morgan are going to hold 4th, with the 2 teammates of Joel Martin, Joe Wren, the 27 and the 006 still going hard at it for 2nd.
Yeah, great battle for 2nd right now. Martin actually going to lose a little bit of time. Wren sends it into the heel of the boot that time. Very good run for the 006. And now for John Morgan, he's looking to see if he can get a cut on Joel Martin. Martin lost a little bit of time, and that's allowed Morgan to close up that gap. A very good exit out of the boot for Morgan. And he's going to look to driver's left. Nothing there yet. It looks like he might wait until turn number 1 or those S's to try and make the move on that 27.
Yeah, we've now got a 3rd driver from, I believe this is Team Green, Bruce Paul in the number 57 in his 6th position, now going to join in this fight. So we have a 6-way battle for the lead, top 6 covered by just over 2.5 seconds. Bruce Paul, Joel Martin and Joe Wren, all teammates, so if they could get together, we could see them all working together. John Morgan there in 4th, still looking for a way around Joel Martin in 3rd, and Joe Wren in 2nd, still looking away. But Donald Fritter at the moment having the lead of just over half a second. He looks as though he has the pace at the moment, but fastest lap, a 1:42.2 set, I believe last time round, was John Morgan in the 177.
Yeah, Fitterer doing an excellent job right now on the back straightaway, but Joe Wren's got a very good run in that Team Green number 006, and he's going to make it happen into the carousel. Pass completed by a mile. Joe Wren looks like he hit the nitrous booster right there because he just got about 3 car lengths on Donald Fitterer just by the aerodynamics alone. Fitterer was under attack briefly there, but it's going to be John Morgan who makes the pass done. Coming into the boot. Excellent pass on the 27 of Joel Martin.
Yeah, but they're still going at it. John Morgan's just got the outside line coming into the toe. Might not be able to hold it, but Joel Martin looks as though he has been knocked down to 4th. John Morgan up to 3rd in the 177. Joe Wren now leading this race, going to be hopefully leading as we come across the line up with the first lap. He has led of season 4 here, and Donald Fritter is down to 2nd, but I expect Fritter to be challenging again for that lead. Obviously the draft is very big from these cars, so expect him to be back. John Hunsby as well is making his way back up the field, although at the moment he is up into 13th, having got his way past Jose Carlos in the number 44 machine, and his next target will be Mark Gleason, just over a second up the road. Looking back, it looks as though the top 11 are now all covered in reasonable length.
Oh, big problems. Hold on. Sorry to cut you off there. It's big problems for Jose Carlos. Thick black smoke coming out of the Pro Mazda there, and that looks like maybe a wrong gear shift. Oh, that's what it was. He was trying to go into the heel there and got the gear shift all messed up, Jack, and that's all it took. The transmission exploded, and the 44 pouring smoke out of the rear end of the 44.
Yeah, oil being dropped everywhere here at Watkins Glen. Jose Carlos just getting his brake or his gear change timing just slightly wrong, over-revving the engine, and bang, there it went. So that is day over for the number 44, and he is back down onto pit lane. We have had a no fastest time or fastest lap by Joe Wren, 141.6, but Donald Fitterer, I believe, has retaken the lead.
Yeah, it didn't matter. He was able to get the lead. The aerodynamics playing into factor once again. And meanwhile, John Morgan able to hold off Joel Martin for that third place position that time, but Joe Wren's not done with the lead. Got a very good run heading through the toe of the boot, now down the sole into the heel, and Wren looking for any way past, maybe gonna try and send it in here at the heel, not gonna happen. He's gonna maintain that gap and maybe look to see where he can get a little bit of an advantage coming out of this last couple corners.
Yeah, Joe Wren is definitely going to be up on the back of Donald Fritter in the 111. Donald is going to be looking in his rearview mirror intently, trying to predict what Joe Wren is going to do in the 006. Wren just at the moment just going to stay behind, maybe going to try and get the draft down into turn 1. Let's see what he does this time coming around through turn 11 for the 5th time. Going to come out onto the straight. Let's see what the draft does for him this time as they cross the line to start lap number 6.
Yeah, starting lap number 6, Joe Wren is right there. And meanwhile, the gap is kind of opened up. It's about 9/10 back to John Morgan in P3. It closes up a little bit heading through turn number 1, but Joe Wren all over the back gearbox. The 006 going to look to driver's left this time. He's got a nose in there side by side. Wren a little bit on the grass, going for everything he can get. Now Fitterer going to have the advantage coming out of the S's, and this could open this wide open for John Morgan. He may be in draft range.
I think he's just a little bit too far back to get anything done now. Donald Fritter going to drop down to second. Joe Wren back into the lead in the 006, getting it done on the back straight, where most of the lead changes have happened today, Cisco. But Donald Fritter will not give up. He will be on the attack from now. These races definitely are intense, and the drivers have to be alert at all times to predict what people are doing, especially on the drafting circuits like this. The 3 circuits we're going to be broadcasting of the 60 Plus Racing Adventures in season number 4 are of course here. We're also going to go to Monza and Spa-Francorchamps. All 3 will be brilliant drafting tracks, and so we are going to see some brilliantly close racing, especially coming up through the famous Eau Rouge in week number 12 at Spa.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. That's done. This is now, and right now the battle continues. It's kind of become a battle of 3 cars at this point, because John Morgan, actually 4, because Joel Martin, I keep messing this up. John Morgan and Joel Martin are right there in this battle as well. Throw in Gerard Fleurisson as well. You got 5. Hey, throw Bruce Bull in there as well. Why not 6? So 6 guys within a shot of the lead. A little bit of a gap between 4th and 5th, but everybody else, for the most part, right in this battle for the lead. And Fitterer, I think, just waiting for his move, Jack. And the problem is John Morgan is in range where he can undercut the 111 and be able to make that move happen, even if Fitterer wasn't planning on that happening.
No, definitely John Morgan is going to be someone who is going to be looking out intently for that lead. He's going to be looking for any opportunity. He's not too far back, only about 6/10 back from Joe Wren in the lead, but Donald Fritter again going to go side by side coming down the back straight to see what John Morgan can do. Is he going to try and go for a gap down the middle? No, I don't think he's close enough to get anything done, but Donald Fritter going to go back to the lead. He is our new leader in the number 111 into the lead here. P number 1. Joe Wren not going to give up, nearly making contact coming into the carousel. John Morgan not anywhere close enough to get anything done. Joel Martin again not anywhere close enough. So it looks as though we're having a 3-way battle for the lead. But at the moment, John Morgan just cannot get anywhere done. Whereas Joe Wren is definitely not giving up on Donald Fritter.
And what's interesting to see is just how long this snake of cars is, because you throw in Fleurisson and Poole, you may as well throw in Bonacera, De Pasqua, and Coulomb as well. They're all right there as well, even Jim Oliver. So, I mean, if you're Remigio De Pasqua, you're racing your teammate here, Bonacera, for that P7, but you can see the leader in front of you, and that does a lot because it changes your mindset. If something happens to that leader, Jack, you're in a position where even if you're running 8th, you can capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, De Pasqua is going to be looking up the road. The leader is only 3 seconds ahead of him. That's such a good thing about Watkins Glen is because the draft is so good, we're going to be seeing these cars all going to be in a line. Basically like what we used to see in Formula 1 with the trolley train. So we're seeing that again here at Watkins Glen, but it's going 8-9 cars back. But this time it isn't being stuck behind someone. It is actually fast, intense racing. But Donald Fritter going to lead coming across the lap, or coming across the line this time. Going to go to 8 more laps remaining. Joe Wren, though, is going to be right on his tailpipe. Donald Fritter just going to run over the grass, lucky not to do what Jos van der Ven did in race 1. Joe Wren going to go down to the inside for the S's. Fritter's going to leave the door open for him, and Wren is going to go round the outside, coming up through the S's by the looks of it, or is Fritter going to have to run down onto the straight?
I don't think it's going to matter, because here comes John Morgan in the 177, a huge run. He's actually just going to sit behind Joe Wren. He's looking for an opportunity, but there's no room. He could shoot the middle, but it's a little too close, so he's going to drop in behind Fitterer. And now look at Joe Wren jump to the inside.
There's contact.
and the leaders will go around. It all went wrong for Wren and Fitterer, and those two end up in the wall, and it all went wrong. And what did we say? They could see the leaders back for 7th and 8th. That's now 5th and 6th because it all ended in tears.
Yeah, just Joe Wren taking a little bit too much speed into the carousel, going into the back of Donald Fitterer. Fitterer will not be happy with that after having the lead so many times in this race. They're gonna be dropping back down the field. Donald Fitterer has gone back down to 10th, Joe Wren down to 11th, so they are now on a recovery drive. John Morgan, though, is going to be leading this race out from Joe Martin. Gerald Florison has been put up into 3rd, Bruce Paul into 5th, and Paolo Bonacera to 5th, although saying that, as Remigo de Pasqua got past him. Yes, he has. De Pasqua is going to be elevated up into 5th.
And it was a very aggressive move made by the 006, and he's going to pay for it because while the 111 does have a sniff of draft of Jos van der Ven, Jim Oliver, and Richard Coulomb, he still has a shot to maybe keep that top 10 position and do something. Joe Wren has lost these guys completely. John Unsby is the next person in line to maybe do something with him, and that's going to be trouble because Unsby's been charging through this field as much as he can. So Fitterer, it could have been worse for the 111, but the 006 in a position where he just can't go anywhere right now, Jack.
Yeah, Unsby has been on a charge, and he is not too far off the fastest car on the circuit at the moment, and actually doing pretty really decent lap times. But going back to the lead, John Martin. Oh, we got three-way for the lead coming down the middle. Gerard Florison's going to go through the middle, going to go from 3rd to 1st in one jump. Good move there by Gerard Florison in the 17. And he had a little bit sideways coming into the carousel, leaving some skid marks down. But Florison at the moment, he's got about a 3/10 lead over John Martin. But John Morgan has lost 2 positions in the space of, well, no corners.
Yeah, Florison right there. You could see the backfire happen when he came out of the carousel, and you could tell he was like, oh, that was a really good run, but I got to make sure I get out of the gas so I don't go flying into the grass. So Florison, a very powerful move there, and made it stick, did a very good job of grabbing that lead, and came from 3rd to do it. So that's, I think, only a handful of times that we've seen someone be able to successfully go from 3rd to 1st in the carousel. He made it happen. But Joe Martin is right there, so this ain't over quite yet. This is going to be a swapping between these 3. Bruce Poole also right there, as is De Pasqua. Bonacera starting to lose these guys a little bit.
Yeah, I think Bonacera, or De Pasqua and Bonacera, just not having the pace they need to be able to keep up with these leaders. But that was an awesome move there by the 17 of Florison down into turn number 5. He's going to come round turn number 11 for the 9th time, go on to lap number 10. Just 6 more laps remaining here in race number 2 of the 60 Plus Racing Adventures. As we look down to 4th position, I believe this is, we're going to go side by side down into turn 1 between Bruce Poole and Remigo de Pasqua, nearly making contact. Bruce Poole going to run a little bit wide, getting his tires a little bit dirty as we come up into the S's. De Pasqua going to go down to the inside, side by side, coming up through 3 and 4, down onto the back straight. I think Bruce Poole may just have the run.
No, De Pasqua's going to have the cutback here on the final S. He'll have that right side. And now it's going to be a case of who has the better run off the corner. There's no arrow helping those guys. And while they battle, the battle for the lead is on because Joe Martin just stole it away from Florison there. He's going to get the lead back and send it into 5. And Florison going to get freight train back to 3rd. And then meanwhile, looks like big issues.
Oh!
De Pasqua is hard into the outside wall, and it all went wrong. It was 3 wide, and it was his teammate Paolo Bonacera just got in the rear wing in both cars, and as well, Bruce Poole also losing control.
Bruce Poole just went into the wall unassisted there. That is unfortunate there for the number 57, but looks like 2 teammates. The 2 Italian teammates there have just come together. That's the race over for, I believe, all 3 of them. So, unlucky there, but that is Joel Martin back into the lead. This lead is changing every single lap, and it is making this racing exciting.
And Paolo Bonacera being extremely apologetic on the radio right now. Also, possible issues for Joe Wren yet again. He tried to miss that wreck and lost control of that car. Remigio de Pasqua pulled in the garage area, and night done for the driver of the number 4 car. That wasn't going to happen at all. So he's pulled that car behind the garage. They've loaded up and left the facility here for today. He's done. So now it's just Joe Martin, John Morgan, Gerard Florison. Those guys are continuing to battle. Fitterer has kind of gotten his way all the way back to 4th through all the shenanigans, Jack. And what a recovery for the 111.
Well, that is an awesome recovery. Donald Fitterer in the 111 there, showing why sometimes the attrition rate can become helpful. But Gerard Florison is going to get a double draft here. John Morgan going to go to the outside. John Martin to the inside. Let's see if there's a gap there for the 17. Or is he going to be pushed into the grass and left and Freight Train behind. No, he's not. He's going to take the draft of John Morgan, but he's just not going to have the momentum to get it done, or the space to get it done by the looks of it. But John Morgan, they're going to retake the lead. Or is Joel Martin going to come down the inside? They're going to go too wide. Joel Martin's going to take the lead. Could John Morgan take it back? He could, he couldn't, he could, he couldn't. Let's see if I get confirmation. It's going to be it's changed twice in 1 second there, and John Morgan's just going to hold that lead.
Yeah, Joel Martin down to the inside. Those they head into the toe of the boot, side by side. He'll have the preferred line. He's going to shove John Morgan out of line a little bit there. Morgan going to stay strong on the outside. This isn't quite over yet. I don't know if he's going to make this happen. He had to back out of it. Joel Martin, a little bit of a defensive maneuver, had to force John Morgan out of the gas pedal, and now Morgan going to try and look for the cutback. This is a battle royale between these two. It is all on, and John Morgan looking for the cutback. A very good exit at turn number 9 as they head into turn 10. Morgan is there.
Fritter is also up to third, so Fritter has taken third off Florissant while those two leaders were battling, but Joel Martin is just going to hold that lead for another lap. I think this is one of the only laps we've seen this go out of the both races where the leader who started, or the person who was leading at the start of the lap, is also leading at the end of the lap. That's pretty rare to see here at Watkins Glen, especially in these cars, but John Morgan will not be giving up, but Donald Fritterer in the 111 is now back in the equation. We know he's fast, and we know he's angry.
Yeah, driving angry is the driver of the 111, and this is an opportunity to get the slipstream. John Morgan's been getting excellent slipstreams to the S's. Same story, second verse for the 177, and here comes the 111. They are going to go 3 wide. Fitterer looking for any gap he can. He's going to push Morgan. Morgan going to go by Joel Martin, and Fitterer decided, no, I don't want to do this quite yet. They're side by side for that lead. Morgan going to try and send it in on the outside. Martin sends it in on the inside.
Oh, Florissen's round. The 17 has just gone around coming into the carousel, just a little bit late on the brakes. Looks as though he's got all 4 wheels locked up. That's put Jos van der Ven up into 4th there, so a good race by him. He's been brought into this lead battle, so we now have
that might have been an assist, actually, Jack. I'm looking at it. Jos van der Ven was right there. Maybe just took the air off the spoiler, but either way, more teammate shenanigans.
I don't see any damage for the 17. I certainly didn't see any contact that was apparent. It looked as though the 17 just got a little bit deep on the brakes because he actually pulled away from Jos van der Ven. Then he started spinning. So almost a two-car incident there. But Jos van der Ven just getting away with that. But he's been brought into this lead battle as we see Donald Fritterer up to second, getting past just John Morgan coming out of the boot back onto the Cup course.
Fitterer is putting on the race of his life right now at Watkins Glen International. No, running out of time. Only 2 full laps to go here. They'll come to start lap number 13. Actually 3 in that case then, because they got 13, 14, and 15 left to go in this race. And now Fitterer. It's just him and Joel Martin and John Morgan. That's your top 3. Jos van der Ven also, hey, throw him into this conversation because, like you said, he's caught up to these guys, but he's in a position where can he have enough space to even do anything right now, Jack, or is he going to have to freight train someone to get past some of these guys?
I think there's going to have to be a freight train to see Jos van der Ven get a little bit further up, but we're going to see John Morgan in 177 looking for the draft on Fitterer, who's also looking for the draft on Joel Martin. We're going to go 3 wide. Who's Martin going to try and who's going to block? We're going to see Fitterer back to the lead already. That is a great move there.
Oh, no,
it's in contact.
Yeah, and it was John Morgan who got the short end of the stick there, gets shoved off track. No one spins. They all hold on to it, so we stay everybody in this battle. But John Morgan just lost touch with this entire pack, and they all got tight. And it was Fitterer who dived it in on the inside there, and they ran out of room at that point. You can't go 3 wide through the carousel, I get the feeling. And they tried to, and the problem was Joel Martin got a little bit tight, and the car would not turn. He got right into the 177. Fitterer was clear of them by that point, so he was able to escape incident. But Joel Martin has a little bit of damage, and that allowed Jos van der Ven. He went from 4th to 2nd in 1 turn.
Yeah, that's good driving there by Jos van der Ven to again avoid incident, and he will definitely be challenging for the lead. So I think between the leaders, I think it's going to be a fight between Jos van der Ven and Donald Fritterer, and we have 2 more laps remaining, so either one of them can take it. We could see Joel Martin come back into the fray, or John Morgan, although saying that he has quite a lot of side pod damage there thanks to that contact. I would say John Morgan is out of this race unless something else happens. Joel Martin just a little bit too far back, a second back from Jos van der Ven, so I think we need to turn our attention to Jos van der Ven, Donald Fritterer in the 111 and the 167, going down into turn 1 for the penultimate time. Let's see what they can do coming up through the S's.
Fitterer took the popsicle sticks that time. 2 laps to go as they head through the S's. This time looks like lap traffic going to play a little bit of a factor. That's Jose Carlos Campodonico. They got a new transmission in that Pro Mazda, but for him, he's about to get lapped by who's been the fastest car on the track all day, as that 111 has charged through this field after getting in an incident earlier on. Jos van der Ven is there. He just can't do anything. And Donald Fitterer doesn't even have to worry. He's right now got that lead as they head into the boot here. All he has to do is drive defensively, Jack, and he could have this.
Yeah, I think Donald Fitterer has just got to hold his line, make sure he doesn't let Jos van der Ven get any opportunities too early on coming down that back straight. He's only got to survive one more big drafting series here, or one big drafting session from Jos van der Ven, and I think it is day done. But he's going to be under attack for the next 1.3 laps. Let's see what Jos van der Ven can do coming down into the heel. Probably not much, but Jose Carlos is going to come into the number 44. He's going to be a big factor. Obviously, that maybe not having a fully repaired engine, just slowing down his lap times. Van der Ven's going to look up the inside, but he's going to be blocked by the traffic. Fitterer is going to be forced to the outside. Van der Ven to the inside. They're going to go 3 wide with the traffic, but Van der Ven's just going to be able to get past them okay. So no troubles there with back markers, but Donald Fitterer, it looks like he's probably going to pull out a bit of a gap.
And that was about the worst place they could have caught that car, because that was turn 9. That is a flat turn, so it's all about the apex you took, and it all went wrong for both of them. They didn't get the apex they wanted at all. It actually has brought Joe Martin into this fight, though, because white flag is out. So if something happens between these two, this could end it. But either way, they're running out of time to make it happen. Jos van der Ven's got to make it happen and make it soon. He's got a very good run through the S's. This is his shot to make it happen. To driver's left, a little bit of a defensive move by Fitterer, and they're side by side on the straightaway.
Yeah, they're going to go side by side. Jos van der Ven is going to take the lead temporarily, but let's see what Fitterer can do coming down into the carousel. He's going to have the inside line. Not much by the looks of it. Is he going to go deep on the brakes? Ooh, maybe not. Van der Ven's still on the outside. It's still got the probably not as good a line, but he's going to have the inside line for the shoot. Be much harder, much trickier off camber corner on the brakes, down a couple of gears. And Jos van der Ven looks like he's got the lead there. Cisco, could we have just seen the winning move?
This may not be over quite yet. Fitterer is
Joel Martin's
still
in
there.
the wall.
Yeah, Joel Martin just lost the back end of that car. We'll stay with the leaders because it's still close. Fitterer lost a little bit of time coming out of the toe, and that took Joel Martin. He's going to fall to 5th, by the way, so Jim Oliver going to move up into P number 4. No battles going on through the rest of your field. This is the battle for the lead. The 167 has served for the moment. He's got a couple more turns left to go. Here's turn number 9, 2 to go after this one, and Fitterer cannot make up the gap unless something happens in the last 2 corners for Jos van der Ven, who's a P2 championship standing. He's not going to get points for this win, but it doesn't matter because coming off the final turn, he just has to hold it straight, and he does. Jos van der Ven gets the win in race number 2 at Watkins Glen. An excellent battle right there, Jack. Oh man, did it again. I have to put a pound in the box for that. But either way, John Morgan finishes, or is able to bring it home 3rd. It all went wrong for Joel Martin. We'll see if we can get a look at what happened at the 27 on replay there. It was looking good. It looked like he could have held on to 3rd, but it all went wrong coming out of the chute going into that first left-hand turn, Jack.
Yeah, it just looks as though he got a little bit too far on the inside, got inside 2 wheels up on the grass, and that spent him spinning. Avoided contact with the wall, so I apologise for that. He obviously didn't hit the wall, but losing some time there, just having to bring himself around. So unlucky there for Joel Martin after having such a strong race and leading so many laps, finishing down in 5th. But Jos van der Ven and Donald Fitterer, they have to be story of the race because they came back on a storming drive from a bad quali for Jos van der Ven, and obviously the incident early on for Donald Fitterer to finish 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take you through the full race results here before we talk to the guys who finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in this race. But Jos van der Ven got it done. Winner in the 2nd race here at Watkins Glen International. Donald Fitterer going to finish 2nd. 3rd going to go to John Morgan. 4th to Jim Oliver. 5th going to go to Joel Martin. 6th goes to John Unsby. 7th going to go to Mark Leisen. 8th going to go to PJ Sally. 9th to Michael Key. And rounding out your top 10, Richard Coulomb.
11th is going to go to the car of David Riley, and 12th to Paolo Bonacera. 13th to Jose Carlig, 1 lap down after the transmission issues, and 14th to Bruce Paul. 15th, Ronald McManus, and 16th, I believe now we are hitting the people who didn't finish. That is the 17 of Gerald Fleuryson, the 006 of Joey Wren, the 4 of Ramigo de Pasqua, and the 53 of Franz Brink. And then your podium finishes from last race, non-starters Bill Lawrence and Stephen Kalkner.
So, well, we're gonna see if we can talk to the guy who made it happen in race number 2. He's pulled into victory lane. I've caught up with him. Guy who got it done, Jos van der Ven. Congratulations. Race number 2, you're a winner.
Yeah, thank you very much. Crazy race.
Yeah, it was absolutely, and it wasn't a great qualifying start for you, but you were able to race your way through the pack. And talk us through it. You started 9th, and you had to race your way through 8 cars. You missed 2 big accidents. It looked pretty tense out there for the most part.
Yes, it really was. I had a bad qualifying, but I guess the first race was still in my body, so and in my mind. So I was a little bit more careful, and that 9th place on the grid surprised me, but all those guys were very fast today.
Well, I'll give you a chance. Is there anyone you want to say hello to? Any sponsors that you would like to thank?
Well, the only sponsor I have is my wife, and of course I want to thank her for letting me doing this. And it was great, and I want to congratulate Donald and John for the finishing on the podium in the second race.
That's Jos van der Ven. He gets the win here for Watkins Glen International. Jos, we'll see you in Monza here in October.
I think so.
All right, well, we'll see you then. That's Jos van der Ven, gets it done, the win. And Jack, you've caught up with the guy who finished second. We talked to him last race, and we'll talk to him again.
Yeah, I'm down on pit lane with Donald Fredder, your second place finisher. Donald, you just missed out on the podium in race 1. You just missed out on the win in race 2. You must be gutted.
No, I'm actually really happy. That was an excellent race, and Joss made a fantastic last pass, and he kept it.
Certainly, and just obviously we saw that incident towards the start of the race. Were you just then on a recovery drive, just trying to set inconsistent laps, trying to get your way back to the front?
No, I was driving pretty angry at that point, just doing whatever I could to go fast, and there was a kind of a big wreck midway through that took out a lot of people, and I was in the right place and didn't get involved. And then I saw the leaders and caught up to them.
There you go, Donald. Obviously, just missing out on the win today in race number 2. Who do you want to thank?
Well, I'd like to thank Joss for a great race, and everybody else that participated today. It wouldn't be a race if we didn't have everybody there helping out.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is your second place finisher of the Triple One machine, Donald Fredder. Back to you, Cisco.
Yeah, I've caught up with the guy who finished third, and it was a battle towards the end of it with John Morgan, and he brings the 177 home on the podium. And John, long race for you guys. You started 5th, you finished 3rd. Long race for you. Talk us through it.
It was just good racing up front the entire time. A lot of drafting down the front straight. I actually managed to get in front for a little bit, but yeah, it was just great racing up front, and feel lucky to finish 3rd because Joel had a little mishap there on the last lap, or we'd have had an even better finish. But it was good fun. That's what it's all about, just that great racing.
The way the aerodynamics were, did it force you to kind of have to plan out your moves like 5 laps in advance? Because you knew, as strong as the aerodynamics were, if you tried to make a move to the left or the right, someone else was going to be there, next lap trying to pass you as well.
Yeah, it's tough. If you get in front, it's because of the draft on these cars, it's tough to break away and get a gap. You almost have to count on the guy behind you making a little bit of a mistake, but they do. But it's also what makes the racing so exciting, is because you get a group of 4 or 5 guys up front like we did, and it just everybody stays close, nobody can get away, and I'm sure it's just a lot of fun that way.
Well, it looks like you had a lot of fun out there. I'll give you the opportunity. Anyone you want to say hello to, sponsors, shout outs, who gets it done for you guys?
Well, I want to thank Don Strout for starting the league, and for Joel and Mark for carrying it on this year, and just everybody that comes out. It's a great group of guys. We have a lot of fun. So, and thanks to you guys for the job you do. Everybody comments on how good the broadcasts are, and we appreciate it.
Well, that's John Morgan. He finishes P3 here. And Jack, I'll toss the mic back up to you. Final thoughts here from Watkins Glen International as we start to wrap up round number 1 here for the 60 Plus Racing Adventures.
Yeah, today we have seen some excellent, intense and close racing here from Watkins Glen from these guys in the Star Mazdas, and it just shows that sometimes you don't need the faster cars like the McLaren Honda that we have, which we will see on Sunday in the WOD Fastest Gamer competition, first round coming live to you on RaceSpot TV. But it just shows that sometimes the slower and more novice cars can actually just prove to give more exciting racing. We've seen some brilliantly close and clean racing today. Some unfortunate incidents as well, but with drafting circuits and fast circuits like this, you're always going to get incidents. But Cisco, you'll agree with me that these races are a lot of fun to commentate on because they are always full of action.
Yeah, they absolutely are. The next time we're going to see the 60 Plus Racing Adventures on RaceSpot TV, that'll be on October 25th from the Monza Grand Prix at Autodromo di Monza. But until then, for everybody here who makes it happen at RaceSpot TV, for Hugo Louise, our director, for Jack Stiles, and for myself, Cisco Scarmos, we want to say thank you very much for tuning in to round number 1 of the 60 Plus Racing Adventures here at Watkins Glen International. Keep it locked to RaceSpot TV all weekend long for all your racing action. We got plenty of it this time, but we're going to step aside. So, hey, we'll see you soon.